Hello, Sipsters. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Sippin' on Stories podcast. I'm your host, Mandy Corey, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Unfortunately, I have had this terrible sinus pressure that feels like it's been going on for my whole life at this point. I told one of my friends today, I don't remember a time in my life before I had this sinus issue. So I'm going to keep my talking to a minimum because who wants to listen to my nasally voice? Which, I am curious. I am a podcast listener that loves the just chit chat along with the podcast. But I know not everybody is like that. So I am curious how many of my listeners like listening to the talking at the beginning and the end, or if you just skip over that. In fact, maybe you're not even listening to this because you've already skipped past this part. Because I know that does happen. Anyway, if you're one of those, you're in luck today. I'm just going to get right to the episode. I have my friend on the podcast, and oh man, is just one of my favorite people. She's so great. She's one of those friends that you cannot see or talk to for a really long time, but then when you do, it's like you don't skip a beat and you just jump right back into conversation, and she's just so wonderful. But she has definitely had a lot of challenges through her life, and so she is talking about one of those today, and that is finding out that her husband is gay and just the journey of what that was like for her, where she's at now, and everything. It was just a really interesting conversation. I really admire her and the things that she has gone through. She's just a really strong person and still just has such a good energy about her, and I just love her. So here is today's episode.
Hey, you have never looked better.
I have, I'll tell you that.
I'm like, where the heck is my microphone and headset?
I know. It's always a little bit embarrassing. I'm like, you don't need this. But I've tried it on my phone, and I think my phone's just too old. It doesn't work very good. So I'm like, I get this,
Yeah.
but
So I have a friend, I think I was telling you last night, she does podcasts, and she was telling me the same thing. She's like, the big headphones and the mic, it makes all the difference.
it does.
Yeah. Anyways, we're probably recording, so honestly, I feel like I've spent a lot of my life worrying about saying too much, but I'm like, it's my story.
Yeah, you're allowed to tell your story. I think that's what I'm learning as I get older. I'm like, it's okay to say your own, your own story, and not have to make it about everybody else. And
oh, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely the people pleaser in me, so.
Oh, yeah. I'm very codependent, so.
Yep, me too.
I'm learning.
Yes, me too.
Okay. Well, I'll start by asking you, because I ask everybody what their favorite drink is. So I'll ask you first what your favorite drink is.
Oh, boy. This is a hard question to answer because I love drinks.
I do too.
When I leave my house, I have 5 drinks in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just never know what
you're gonna need.
What you're gonna need.
Yeah.
So I am very passionate about a delicious passion fruit tropical blend juice.
Okay.
Or if we're talking soda, which I can't say pop anymore because the teenagers in our home make fun of me. It's called soda.
The first time I said soda, I had a friend call it soda, and I was like, oh, that felt weird. And then I just noticed I started saying soda, and now pop sounds so weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's wrong. When that was what it was my whole life. But
no, it was.
I say soda, yeah.
I think it's that hick part of where we grew up.
Yeah, probably.
But I do love, if I were to tell you my favorite soda, it would be coconut Dr. Pepper with cream. You gotta have the coconut cream in there.
You do. That's my daily, everyday.
Is it?
Cream. Yeah,
oh
Dr. Pepper. Yeah.
This is why we're friends.
I know.
Okay, so now do we just dive in?
Yeah, just go for it.
Something that I get asked all the time is, did you know that your ex was gay? I get asked that all the time.
Of
And
course.
and I'm like, no, I didn't. But if I'm being completely honest, like, I don't think he did either.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that stems from um, just who he is. And that was like never a possibility. But like looking back, even looking back, like on our relationship, because I knew him most of my life. We grew up 2 blocks away from each other. I was really good friends with his younger sister. And I don't, yeah, it's so crazy. Like anybody that knows him would be like, no, I don't know. Like maybe this sounds bad, but I feel like there are maybe certain people that you come in contact with and that thought maybe crosses your mind. Not that it's a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing, but it's like you wonder if that's something that like they feel that they can't express because they would be judged
Mm-hmm.
if they
Yeah.
said that I'm gay. I never would have thought that from him.
Mm-hmm.
Just because and this is like probably setting a stereotype, which maybe isn't fair, but based on what I knew at the time, I was like, gosh, like he was like, and he's still is this way, but a very manly man, like would get his hands dirty. He fixed things. He would tinker with cars. Like he had a motorcycle, just like, and kind
Very
of like that
masculine.
farm boy type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never would have thought, but like looking at our relationship when we were dating, I'm like, oh, well, that probably makes sense because we dated on and off for over 4 years.
Was it that
And
long?
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. And people would always ask, like, did you guys never mess up, I guess? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, never came close. Like, that was never something that was I don't know, like an issue or
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I was naive or what. Um, I just thought it was because he was, I don't want this to sound bad, but I just thought he was like a really good guy that wanted to follow like promises that he had made with himself and that he made with like the church and stuff. So yeah, we dated for 4 years and like I will have people ask like why did you date so long? Like and I think I we kind of went through phases where like my ex was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And I was like, "I don't know." And I don't know if it's just cuz we both felt that something was off. That's
Mm-hmm.
my guess. And I do feel there were certain red flags like looking back and maybe he could say the same. Um but I feel what made it easy to like dive in and be okay with that was the feeling that I felt in his family's home.
Mm-hmm.
Like that felt safe. I felt seen. And looking back now that like that's ended and I've like worked with a counselor, like just on things that I've gone through in my childhood, it was very similar to a previous guy that I dated, his family. I didn't realize like the impact that his family had on me. And going to his home was more than like going to like be with your high school boyfriend. It was like when I walked in that home, like just the feeling alone without anybody saying anything, I I felt safe, which like the spirit definitely dwelled in their home. Like I understood that meaning once entering their home. And I felt seen. Like I finally felt like I could walk into a home and I felt like I felt enough just walking in as I am. And not that I wasn't taken care of at my own house, but it was very unpredictable. It wasn't stable. I never knew like if my dad was going to be scary or not, just based on like how much alcohol he had drank. And so um, I yeah, I just like I remember thinking to myself often like I want my home to feel like this home. And when when I lost that connection in a way because I was in college at the time. So he had left on his mission. And honestly, at that time, like, we had such a great group of friends. Like, don't you agree with that? Like, it was a
It
good,
was good. It was
it
fun.
it
Yeah.
was so fun. And everyone, like, cared for each other. They, um, had each other's backs. Like, you just had a good time when you were together.
Mhm.
And so it was hard, that, like, kind of all of that just, like, the door closed all at once. Like, everyone was gone. And that's when I realized, like, how alone and isolated I felt in my home and honestly scared. So once that was gone, it was like I mourned the death of somebody. Like, I mourned the loss of, like, him and his family as if
They
they
died.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy, like, realizing that's what was going on because, well, I didn't realize it until later. But yeah, so it made it really, really hard. And then when I met my ex, I was not interested in dating anybody, but I felt that same feeling in his home. And
Mhm.
so that was like, it was almost like I craved that. I wanted that family unit. Like, I wanted to walk in and feel the spirit. I wanted to walk in and feel seen. Truly, I wanted to walk in and feel enough. And
Mhm.
so I think all of that aside, that was enough for me, which is kind of sad to admit, but to be able to, like, dive in and be like, okay, like, maybe our relationship is a little weird, which, like, I think of because I, like, have girls and I'm like, gosh, if they were to be in that situation, I'd be like, no, like, you need to find somebody that you just feel so good about even just with them.
Mhm.
And but I didn't know, like, I didn't have that um with my parents. Like, they had a very dysfunctional marriage. Everything in my home was dysfunctional. Not to say that my parents didn't try their best. My mom always took care of our needs, and my dad was very much like the emotional support when he was available, which was like, you never knew. Sometimes he was there, sometimes he wasn't. So yeah, so then I married, and even like the first part of our marriage, like, we moved away. I didn't really know anybody, but people that I would, like, come in contact with, like, I'd hear like other women talk about their marriages and I'm like, why is my marriage not like that?
How do you mean?
Like, I guess the best way to say it would be like, in the bedroom there
Sexually?
was no there was no bedroom that was like I always was like, why? Why is this, like, not a thing?
Like the honeymoon phase of marriage
Yeah,
that people
yeah,
supposedly go through. Yeah.
yeah. And so, like, I really don't think he understood why either. And I was not one to really ask questions because I didn't want to cause contention or I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But we always, like, him and I always got along really well. Like,
Mhm.
I would say we were always really good friends. We had a lot of fun. But a lot of his friends growing up and I don't know if still now, but were girls. And so, like, I feel like he jived well with the opposite sex as, like, a friend. And so I do feel like we were really good roommates. We were a great team. Um, but yeah, there always just was something missing. And the first, like, I still had no idea, but when we were it was pretty early on in our marriage, there was a guy that he worked with. And I'd always tell him, I'm like, I feel like this guy likes you. And he would tell me, like, no, like, he is interested in, like, another girl. He's not interested in me. But he would, like, come into our home. And, like, whenever he would come into our home, he was so rude to me. And he was, like, I don't know how else to say it, but he was very feminine. And he would be super bossy with me. I was pregnant at the time, which
With
seems
your
crazy.
first?
Yeah, with my first. And I was super sick. Like, pregnancies were really hard for me. Like, I would have to get IVs. I would throw up my whole pregnancies. And that being my first, I didn't know what to expect. So I just Like, it was depressing. Like, I was super sick. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any family close. And so I think that I maybe would have noticed more of what was going on had I not been in like such a
Your own like mess going on
yeah,
with pregnancy. Yeah.
yeah. And I was working full time. So like that also was like I was really busy, but I didn't feel right about that like relationship, I guess. Like I knew I was like, well, it's just two guys. Like it's not like something's gonna happen.
Did he seem flirty too with
Um,
him?
yeah, like kind of in a way he did, but I was like, he would tell me like, well, it's kind of how you are with your girlfriends. Like you just joke. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, I guess so. But there was one, I remember this, it was a Sunday afternoon. No, actually before that, I started feeling really weird about it. Like I can't remember what had happened, and I'm not one to like snoop. Like I really am like trusting somebody is trusting somebody and you don't need to go through their stuff. But he had an iPad that was connected to his phone and I was like, I just don't feel good about this. And so like I really do feel like I was inspired to look at it. So I went
Mm-hmm.
to go look and the message app had been deleted off of it. And I was like, that's weird. Like that's been there like forever. And so why would he delete that? Because I had never said anything to him. And so I was like, I feel like he's hiding something. And growing up in the home I did, like I would watch my dad hide things from my mom. So like I felt that feeling. I was like, there's something off. So I looked at his watch. This was on a Sunday afternoon. He had was taking a nap and his watch was sitting on our ottoman. So I was like, I'm just gonna look at it. And like what I found, I was like, oh, this is not good.
Was it with this coworker?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I I can't remember everything that happened, but he ended up like I went into our room and I locked the door and a little bit later like he was like he had woke up and he was looking for me and I told him like I was like please don't come in. I'm packing my bags. I'm leaving. And he was like what's going on? And I just told him I was like you know what's going on. Like don't be silly. Like be a man about it. And so
Were
I
they just
ended
like text messages? Were there like photos? Was it
yeah, there were photos
okay?
and like super in-depth messages, like just very inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And so still then, like I didn't think he was gay, which maybe it just was like that didn't seem like a possibility, but I was more hurt that like you're okay with sending this. Like there was nothing like no nude pictures, but just like very inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at the time was just trying to figure out like what I had seen because he didn't know. And I know he was scared. And so I left and I was going to go live with my sister. And he kept calling and I finally answered. And we talked and he talked me into coming back to the house. And he basically told me that it was like a bromance that went too far. And honestly, like my now it's kind of funny saying that because I'm like, what does that mean? Like, why did I think that that was okay? And I don't know. Like, I mean, I just feel like in the moment it was like, I guess like the best way to describe it is because it's funny, people will come to me and tell me things, and I'm like, well, you got to get out of that. But like, you don't know what you're
Like
okay
when
with.
you're in it.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
until like you're presented with that.
Not to
Like,
mention like you're pregnant. Like it's not as easy as just being like,
yeah,
oh no, I'm gonna leave. Like he's already in your life. You're having a baby.
yeah. And
And
you
I
love
think
this
it's really
person.
easy. Yeah, you do love them. And you're also trying to protect yourself too. Like I think it would be easy for me to like talk my way through it, back into
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. And like he knew me. And I'm not saying that he was like intentionally like trying to be manipulative or anything. Like, 'cause I really don't feel like that's who he is. but I do know he was scared, and it was something that he was like, "Whoa, what have I done?"
Mhm.
And I am not saying that this made it okay, but like I had been absent. Like I would go to work, I'd come home, I would throw up until I went to sleep. Felt like crap. And so I know he felt alone. And so I think he allowed like more of that side of him to open up
Mhm.
because he had this coworker that he got really close with. Um, anyways, so I asked him a lot of questions. I was like, I just feel like it's weird. Like why are you sending pictures like like what is
Yeah.
going on? And he just basically phrased it like, well, it's probably like when you joke with your friends. And so I think more than anything, I just wanted to believe that. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Like, and I also feel like it stemmed from like growing up in an alcoholic home where it's like, well, tomorrow will hopefully be better because there's certain days that like were really, really bad and that brought you a lot of sorrow, but you always knew that tomorrow could be better. So
Mhm.
I feel like I kind of like had that mentality. Um, so life went on. Sometimes my timeline gets messed up, but um our our marriage was always like, as far as like the intimate side, it really was not there. And I can say that with confidence now that I'm like remarried in like a healthy relationship, like intimately. Is that weird to say? I don't
No, I don't think
know.
so.
But
We're all adults here.
yeah,
It's fine.
we're all adults.
Yeah.
Um but I'm like, yeah, like that was never there. Um so there were some like other things that happened along the way as far as like I would feel like, gosh, like I started questioning like is he like bisexual? Like is he gay? Like what is going on? There would be times like he traveled for work a lot and that he would just be absent. And I just didn't feel right. Like it was like that gut feeling that I was like, something's going on. And so
Mhm.
I didn't know if it was like, is he looking at pornography? And so I would confront him about things and I would try and be like really gentle. And I should have known it then, like when he would get defensive and like throw it back on me, like that was a yes, but he would never come out and say it. But then I'd feel bad, and then I'd be like questioning myself, like, gosh, do I even know like my own intuition or like what my gut is saying? Like, I just would feel really bad. Like, I'm like, I hurt him and I shouldn't have. Um, but then there were times when like I would find out that like there was like heavy pornography use. But the
Would you find it or would you ask him or
I always would find it. He
okay.
never would come to me and say. Like it would
Okay.
always be something that like I would either catch him or it was something that would be like left open. I remember one Thanksgiving and I wanted to look at like a Black Friday sale and one of my girls had my phone. So I asked them if I could look at something and I like pulled up Instagram and like the feeds that were coming up, I was like, oh, this isn't good. And so I confronted him about it and like he denied it.
Mhm.
But like those things just kept happening more often than not. And I missed like a really important part. My bad.
It's
Backing
okay.
up. So I actually had found out one of our daughters, like, we had noticed she was bruising a lot. And so I went one afternoon, I went to change her diaper, and she had like bruises all across her hips, and they were dark and they were really, really bad.
Yeah, I
And so I
remember when
was,
this happened.
yeah, so I was like,
Yeah.
what is going on? So I was like trying to get a hold of my ex, and I couldn't get a hold of him. He had told me where he was going to be. I was like checking his location, but it had showed that his location was off. So I just was like, what is going on? And he finally got a hold of me. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours later, and I was like, is he dead? Did he drive off the road? And he had told me, he's like, I'm really sorry, like I didn't have service. And but I'm like, why didn't you have service? Like I just was super confused. Um, anyways, and then like a few days later, we we had taken our daughter in to be checked. They called us and said that they thought she might have leukemia, and we were terrified. So it was that night that my ex shared with me because he gave her a blessing, and he told me like later he was like, I need to talk to you. And this was the first and only time that he had like told me anything on his own. He's like, I'm really worried that the blessing didn't work for Ivy that I gave to her before we took her to the doctor. And he's like, I need to go and see um, the bishop and straighten out some things in my life. And that's when he told me that he had same gender attraction, that there had been stuff going on with his coworker. And I like fell off our couch. Like it was like I had an idea, but I never thought that that was going to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just shocked. Like I was like, whoa, who is this person? And not that I was like, not that I'm like saying that he's a bad person for that, but it was like I married this person. I thought this was who you were. You lied to me when I would ask you questions. And like I just, my head was spinning. Like I very much was having, like, my emotions were, I think I was in shock. I was definitely in
Yeah.
shock. So we were able to get into the bishop, talk about things, and um,
Did you go in together or did he go by
yeah,
himself?
we went in together,
And
and
how was that experience?
um, our bishop was great.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like, I was really worried for him. Like, I was like, what's going to happen? And our bishop said he wanted to pray about it and meet back with us. So we met with him again on Sunday, and he was like, I don't feel that you need to be like on, or you need to be, what's the word? It's the
Disciplinary council or
is
something?
that what it is? And then they can, it's not like probation, but what is the word? You're
Like
not,
excommunicated?
no, not
Like that extreme,
excommunicated.
but
Oh, disfellowship.
oh,
Isn't
just
they're
felt.
like
Yeah, yeah,
just, yeah, okay,
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of. And, but nothing like that happened. He was like, I don't feel, he's like, for whatever reason, I prayed about it, and I don't feel like that's something that you need to go through. I can tell, like, when you talk to me, and like I felt it too. He's like, I can feel your hurt. I can feel like your questioning of like, why is this something that I have to deal with? And he was like, that alone shows me that like you, I don't know, that you want to repent, and that the steps we need to take are probably going to look a little bit more gentle for you than maybe if somebody else were to come. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just how I feel. Um, and so going through that repentance process together was it was really good. Like we I started to see more of the side of him that I saw when I first started dating him too, cuz he was like the president of the institute. He served an amazing mission. Like he had such a strong testimony in the church, and that was something that I really did um admire and find attractive in him when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
And so that side started to come, like started to shine more. But something that was hard is like he didn't want to be labeled anything, and so I never knew what to say. Like I had questions. Like I was like, "This is something that you've been dealing with for years. This is something I just found out, and I don't understand." Like I'm asking questions because I'm curious, not because I'm trying to like make you feel bad.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I really tried to like cheer him on. I remember one afternoon, our bishop brought us a book that was on same gender attraction for me to read because I was trying to like I was trying to understand it because I'm like, can this still work if this is like going on? Like if he has these feelings, like can he still be happy with a woman?
Mm-hmm.
And so he brought me this book because of that and was super upset.
That he
He's
had
like,
brought it.
yeah, he's and I feel like it was just him not still not being okay with maybe
That part of him.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
And
it
like
was
accepting that it actually was a real thing that he was going through. Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But at the time, that was super hurtful because I'm like, I'm trying to support you. I'm trying to like get resources to understand and show up how I can. And so, yeah, so like we probably both didn't handle that as well as we could have. Um,
But how are you supposed to know how to handle that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't like this was a shock. And I mean, I didn't really understand much of that. And I feel like when like during our time of growing up and going through high school and whatnot, like that just wasn't really a thing. Like
Yeah.
so I didn't really know anything about the LGBTQ community.
Still say that like he was attracted to you
Yeah, he
as
would
well.
be like, he would tell me he thought I was beautiful, like when I asked him those questions. But I could feel like when we were married, like you can tell when somebody is attracted to you, or like
Mm-hmm.
is like looks at you and is like, wow, like you're really pretty. And like I didn't ever really feel that fully. Like he would always tell me like you look really good like on the days that I spent time getting ready and I felt like he was like, "Oh, I probably this is how I felt." I can't say for sure like what was going on in his mind, but I felt like he was like, "Oh, I probably should say something because I know she spent time." But there was never like,
An attraction, like a
yeah,
intimacy wise type thing.
yeah, or it
Yeah.
wasn't like he would come home and be like, "You look really cute," or like I get that now in my marriage, and I had it before, like within like dating and things like that. So I was like, I always knew something was off. Um, so things had not been good. Like my ex was so distant with me. Like I just felt super alone. He seemed miserable. And honestly, like this isn't who he is. So like I always feel bad saying this, but he was just rude to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
he just seemed so annoyed with me and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm like, I don't know. So like I actually ended up signing up to go to counseling because I was like, I need to figure myself out because apparently like
Like no one
I
likes to be around me.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with me? Which was hard because like I growing up and like when I'd get around like my friends or like the right I don't know. Really I feel like I could get along with anybody. Like
You
I
really can. Like
just
you have the best energy and like you're just the greatest. You really are.
well, that's so nice of you to
Yeah.
say. I just like being around people. Like
Yeah.
it fills my cup, and I like to, like, even within my job when I would do home health, I love going into people's home and just hearing their stories. Or, like,
Mm-hmm.
I like communication. But I also, it's hard when you're trying to communicate with the one person that, like, is supposed to like you and you feel like it's a chore for them or that they're just annoyed with you. So I just got really quiet and I started, like, I feel like I built this shell around me and yeah, I definitely didn't, looking back, I wasn't happy and I didn't like the person that I was because it wasn't me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fit inside of my body. Like, I didn't feel like I fit inside of my body, if that makes any sense at all. But so I started going to counseling. I was meeting with my stake president because I was super close with him. He is like the best man you could ever meet. And he just cared. And so he made me feel really safe. But so I was meeting with him, and then I started feeling sick. And it was like that feeling of like when you're pregnant. And I'm like, how am I pregnant? Like, am I the next Virgin Mary? Like, what's going
Like
on?
this is impossible.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
really have no idea when this could have happened. But I mean, clearly it did. And so I remember going to him and I had been talking to him about like, gosh, maybe this isn't going to work. Like that's never been an option for me to I guess give up on something, but I was like, I don't know. Like this probably isn't going to work. Like I can tell neither of us are happy and I probably maybe I just have too many issues that like are getting in the way. And then I told him I was like, but I just found out I was pregnant and I was just in tears. Like I was so like I was sad and I didn't want to feel that. And it's kind of sad to me because I feel in a way I was kind of robbed from my role as a mother. I always wanted to be a mom. Like ever since I was little, like, I could not wait to be a mother, and during my pregnancies, I'd always get scared because 'cause I'm like, "I don't want to, like, not show enough attention to my husband at the time," or, like but I just would get so sick, and so but then I was telling him, I was like, "I don't know how we're gonna do this, like, I am thinking of leaving, and, like, I don't want to, but like, inside of me, it feels like maybe that's the right thing to do, but now what am I gonna do with I would be having a baby in at the time it would have been like I would have been giving birth in June. Um, so we talked for a while. He gave me a blessing and I remember in his blessing, he was like, give her the strength that she needs and help her to know that, like, going forward, whatever happens, it's in God's hands and it's going to be okay. And I left feeling at peace. And I hadn't felt that way in a while. So I was like, okay, it's going to be okay. Um, so the next morning, I went to just a high fitness class with some of my friends. And during that high fitness class, I started like gushing blood. And it
Oh,
was,
really?
yes, it was so embarrassing because like I was feeling kind of crampy, but when you're pregnant, like I don't know if you felt this, but like I'd feel crampy
Mhm.
like early on just because that's like your body's changing. And I went to the bathroom, I was in there for, like, 2 hours and I miscarried, and, like, it was really sad, but I also knew that that's what needed to happen,
Mhm.
and, um, anyways, my friend, like, helped me get some different clothes. I She was like, "Let me take you home," but I was like, "No, I just wanna go home, like, I'll be fine." I drove myself home. I still hadn't told my ex at that I was pregnant,
That was
'cause I
gonna be my
was
next question.
yeah, because I was scared. So he had no idea, and then here I am, like I'd miscarried. Um, but I had told my sister, so I called my sister on the way home, and I was like, I just miscarried in front of the whole class, and I was like, I'm so embarrassed, but like I don't know what I'm feeling. Like I just am feeling numb, and
Mhm.
so I don't remember everything that she said, but I do remember she FaceTimed me like 3 days later, and she was like, "You are as white as a ghost." And I was like, "Well, I mean, like, I miscarried and I'm still like, I think I'm like in the process of it." And she was like, "Okay, well, you shouldn't be like this white." And so, um, I like feel bad telling this part of my story because I know this isn't who my ex is, but like, I know he was in such a bad place at the time. So she was like, "You need to tell your husband that he needs to take you to the ER. Like, you do not look good." So, um, I told him actually, it was later at night, and he was, like, frustrated. He was like, "It's late at night, like, I can't call my family. The girls need to go to bed." And so I was like, "Well, can you just drop me off then?" So he dropped me off at the ER. I went in. I had hemorrhaged, I guess, and so they had to, like, go through and do whatever they did. Then he came back and got me. And he was frustrated because he had a conference that he had to go to in Salt Lake. So he was like, I just have a lot I need to get done because I have to leave to Salt Lake in the morning.
Did he know that you had told him that you'd miscarried?
I told him, I
Okay.
had told him at that time, I was like,
Mhm.
I had miscarried. And then I let him know that I'd hemorrhaged. And so when my husband at the time came to get me, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm really sorry all this happened. Like, I'm sorry that you won't be able to go to your work conference because they wanted to do like a blood transfusion, but they were like, you'll need to stay the night. Like, it would probably be wise. I mean, you'll be okay if you don't, but where you've gone through, like how much blood that you've lost, like it will be a lot to like replenish yourself, and where you have three littles at home. And I told him no. I was like, no, I'll be okay. I need to get home. So I went home, and I just remember feeling so hurt because my ex was like, "Well, no, I still have to go to Utah. Like, I can't stay here." And I'm like, uh, do you
I could
hear like
die.
what just happened? Like,
Yeah.
and you're still gonna go? So he ended up telling me the next morning, he's like, I'm not going. I told my boss and she said it's fine. I'm like, well, duh. Obviously, she said it was fine. Like
Yeah.
anybody who were to call and be like, hey, my wife had to go to the ER because she hemorrhaged and she should have got a blood transfusion and she miscarried. Like she's going through a lot. And we have 3 little kids at home. Um, so it was like after that experience, I was like, this is really bad. Like, and this isn't okay. And I was
Mhm.
in counseling at the time, so I was like, I deserve to be like taken care of. And um anyways, so I remember that Christmas because that was like I think I miscarried like the very end of October or early November, I'm not sure. Um that Christmas we were at his parents' house and it just was awful. Like he was so distant with me. We we didn't even like even when we were at home, we didn't sleep in the same room. Like he would always be somewhere else and I just couldn't figure out what was wrong. Like I really felt like it was me. And then after Christmas, I he was looking up something on Facebook Marketplace and he was like, I found this and I messaged this guy about something and so he went to show me and I saw as he opened it, the first guy that he had cheated on me with, I saw his name and I was like, why is he on your messages? And he was like, I don't know. He's like, he just went and deleted it and like
Mm.
got rid of all of the messages. And I was like, no, I need to see that. Like, that is not okay. And I was like, that was supposed to be done. And he's like, no, like he randomly will reach out to me, but I never respond. And I just knew. I was like, that's not true. Like, it's
You wouldn't
not.
delete them if that
No.
wasn't true. Yeah.
And why would he still be reaching out? It had been at that time 8 years later.
Yeah.
Like that, or 7 years, I guess. But whatever, still, like, why would he still be trying to message you if you never answered back? Like, he wouldn't. And why, if it wasn't anything, why wouldn't you tell me about it? Like, why don't you be like, gosh, I can't believe, like, he's still reaching out to me. So I told him, I was like, I'm going to reach out to him. And so I did. And I was like, I'm messaging him right now. And I was like, if you have, like, if you care for me at all, you will talk to me. If not, I'll find it out on my own, and that's super hurtful, but one way or another, I'm going to figure it out. And so I still messaged him. He did share with me. He didn't share with me everything, but there had still been like things going on between
Mm-hmm.
and that guy. And so he asked me like if we could go to marriage counseling. And I told him I would go, but I was checked out at that point. Like, I was like, especially after going through that experience on my own, like with the miscarriage, and being like, my husband should have been there.
Yeah.
Like,
That's definitely a moment where a couple like comes together and helps each other and lifts each other up.
yeah. So I just like, I didn't want, like, I was so scared to take that step. And it was like, I wanted to be able to look into a crystal ball and see, like, am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? Like, that's okay if I am, or am I going to meet somebody? And I finally just, like, I remember my stake president telling me, he was like, what is faith? It's walking into the dark and still knowing that, like, you're not alone. And I was like, no, that's true. And it's like something that I am teaching my kids. And even though it's going to be hard, like I've got to do it. And so I remember meeting with a divorce attorney, and the first time I went in there, I just sobbed. And I told him I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if this is right. And it's expensive and
Mm.
just feel bad. And so I didn't end up filing at the time. And I just went and I prayed and thought about it for like 2 weeks. And then I went back and I just started the process. And I was terrified. Like, but then once I took that step, like everything started to fall into place. And like more things started surfacing. And I think it's because I started lifting up the blinders that were on. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I started recognizing like how bad certain things were. And that I'm like, yeah, this was the best choice, even though it was still hard and scary. And I know for him, like he knew at that point, he's like, I'm gonna have to share things that I'm not, because I hadn't told anybody. Like, even though, because I'd found out, gosh, I'm trying to remember how, like, when he told me when my oldest had to get a blood transfusion, I hadn't had my third yet. So, I mean, I kept this secret for a long time. And like a lot of people were like, how did you do that? But I think I like look back on my life growing up. I'm like, well,
You were trained
my
to do
whole
that.
life was a secret. Like I couldn't tell people about my dad. And so
Mhm.
like with my ex, I was like, you in a way like just put on a facade, which is really sad. And you don't share those things because like you don't want to, it's almost like you're sharing somebody else's story, but it's like, no, but it's mine too.
Mhm.
Like it's also my life. But yeah, so we went through that and we
How did your girls handle that?
so yeah, that's a really good question. It was, they were pretty young. I'm like trying to remember how old my youngest was. I think she wasn't even 2 yet. So she was still really little. And our oldest was the one that was like, um, she was sad. Like she was like, I don't want to have two homes. And we tried to, when we told the kids, I was like, I want it to be positive. Like, and he agreed. He's like, no, I agree. And first we separated actually. So we told him we were going to be separated. And that was before I went to the divorce lawyer. But like when we separated, I realized that like he wasn't going to change. Like,
Mhm.
this is who he was. And I'm like, that's great, but that's not going to work. So, sorry to backtrack a little bit, but yeah, so they, it was hard at first. I feel like I had never been without them because he was the one that always traveled for work. So that was really the hardest was when they would at first have to go with dad and mom wasn't there. And it was really hard for me. Like for the first time being with him and like we had like all together we had been together like 11, 12 years
Mhm.
because we had dated for so long. That was the first time I felt anger towards him because I was like, you ruined my life. Like you're taking away my kids, you're taking away like my role as a mother, and you're doing this to our kids. Like this is not okay. But the girls actually did really well. My oldest like has always been like a mother hen. Like she would always make sure that they were okay. There was an experience that happened where my oldest saw things that like I was not okay with, and that is not okay for, like I don't think anybody would be okay with. So we had to set some really, really um, strict like boundaries on what that looked like. But we've come a long ways. Like where we are now and looking back at when we were going through like the separation and the divorce part, like that was the ugliest part of it. But I will say it doesn't matter who it is going through a divorce, like going through that process brings out the ugliest parts of everyone
Mhm.
because it just hurts. It's painful. It hurts and you're grieving like the death of something that's still living. So it's hard.
Mhm.
But yeah, we've come really far and we're in a really good place now, and which I'm so grateful for.
When you guys separated, and people probably obviously are asking questions like your family, his family, like at what point did the truth finally start coming out?
So it was when I had gone and like started the divorce process that my ex talked with his family, and it didn't go very well. But actually at the beginning, and I feel like it's because they were like, that's like a huge pill to swallow,
Mhm.
especially having no idea. I feel like there was a lot of anger towards me. Like there were things said like that I did wrong that made him gay, or which like isn't even possible, but it was them dealing, you know?
Mhm.
But now I feel sad for my ex because he doesn't have a great relationship with his family, which makes me sad because I'm like, when I think of being a Christ-like individual, it's loving somebody as they are, regardless of what that looks like. That being said, both sides could handle it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been very open with my ex about that. Like, and I'm like, look, you've had years to process this. They've had this long. But like if you really want a relationship with that person, you both can't be like throwing each other's like I guess like maybe this sounds bad, but like values and what you stand for at each other because that's uncomfortable. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna not that I'm telling you to set that aside and be somebody else, but set that aside and come together as like a brother and a sister, a son and a mother. Like
Find the few things you may have in common right now,
yeah,
not so much
yeah,
the things that you don't agree with on. Yeah.
yeah. And if it even if it's hard for you, like do it for the kids because they didn't sign up for this.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as hard as that is at times, is to set aside like your hurt and really like your pride. Sometimes that's the selfless act of being, or what you have to do as like being a parent
Yeah.
is setting that aside. Which I mean, I still need to do better with that as well. But yeah, just those kind of things are sad, but ultimately like where I'm at now and going through the divorce and everything that like my girls have had to go through, our situation like I really couldn't ask for a better scenario based on what we've gone through and where we are for my girls because they're in a great spot. Like we co-parent really well. There's like not that friction anymore, but we always were good friends. So like we know how to be friends and it works just fine. Like I this maybe sounds like so maybe maybe weird, but like he feels like a brother to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that's weird because it's like we
No.
have kids. Like I'm not trying to say that, but like based on how I feel towards him because I do care for him. Like I want good things for him, but I don't have that like yeah, I don't know. Like it's like he's a brother. Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
just a really, really good friend. I don't know how to explain it, but
No, I feel like that would make sense. Especially like, I mean, he's still a very important person in your life. Like, you're going to see him a lot.
yeah.
So I feel like
No,
it
for
makes
sure.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like when I go to say that, I'm like, well, maybe not a brother because I would never but anyways, like you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um
But
yeah.
he's fully open now with
Yes.
who he is.
Yep. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he is. And yeah, and I hope that he'll continue to find happiness with that. And I don't say that in like a condescending way at all.
Yeah.
Like it would be really hard to be in that situation and to have to like essentially reopen a door to like maybe what your values are and yeah, so I really hope that that is what brings him happiness.
How has it been like talking with your girls about
Um
that?
yeah, so it
Especially
was
like with church, I feel like it would be really challenging. I assume he's not active anymore.
yeah,
That
yeah.
would be such a hard thing to
No,
navigate.
that is hard. And he's very vocal about it. And he's very
Mm-hmm.
vocal that the church brought him so much trauma.
Yeah,
So
which
that's
I
what's hard.
understand. Like he's
Yeah.
probably dealing with a ton of stuff
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. No, that is, and that's like, that's where it's hard. But I am proud of him. Our oldest got baptized and he came. Like he
No.
showed up. He came for the whole thing. It was hard for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I am grateful that he did come to that. Um, he had told me, he was like, I think something that is hard for me is like, I don't want them to have to feel the same thing that I felt. And I'm like, well, they're not going to because we're not going to allow that. But
Mm-hmm.
something that I said is I was like, this is what's hard for me is so say, like I told him, I was like, say that our oldest like ended up not saying that like she's going to, but I was like, if she ended up like being attracted to women and like having a partner and was a lesbian, I would still show up for her and love her. And I was like, where I get worried is, but what if she's not that? And she is like high up in the church and like gets up and speaks, like, are you still going to support her?
Mhm.
Because guess what?
Like
She
it
may
has to go
not
both
pick,
ways.
yeah, I was like, she
Yeah.
may not pick your way or my way, regardless of which way she goes. Like, they need to be able to choose for themselves. And he actually was like, no, that's fair for you to say. So I think he lets his trauma and his like hurt get in the way sometimes of maybe what's most important. But I mean, we all do that. We're human. I do that too.
Mhm.
And just like being aware of that, but it does make it hard. Do you have like any other questions? Like I don't know if I answered.
Oh no, I feel like you've been answering them all. Um you can talk about meeting your husband now and
Okay.
like just how if that was hard, like getting remarried. I know when you came to my house and we talked, like I was so happy for you. Like you seemed to like be loving the dating and just finally like feeling free and
Yeah.
like it was fun and I was like, oh, like I was so happy for that. But were you scared as
Yeah.
well? Yeah.
So dating was like, because I don't really feel like I dated a ton before I married the first time.
We were lifelong daters.
We
We found
were.
someone and we just stuck with them.
And you stuck with that person and you just,
Yep.
you ran with it.
Yep. Yep.
um, yeah, so dating was really good, but it also was really hard. Like, that's where I had a lot of growth. I had to learn how to say no, as far as like, I felt bad having to tell somebody I wasn't interested. But that didn't mean I was saying that they weren't like a good person or
They're
like,
just
but it
not your person.
wasn't, yeah, and that
Yeah.
was hard. So, but it did help me like uh, grow confidence in like myself. Just because like in my marriage, like I felt like my intuition was off. And so it
Mm.
was like starting to build confidence in that again. But it was fun. There was a lot of heartbreak. There was a lot of crazy people out there. uh,
Yeah, I can imagine.
oh my word. But it was good. I when I first met my husband, because so we met on Mutual, the I guess it's considered the LDS dating app, which I
Yeah, I
will
think so.
I will have you know that does not mean that you're LDS. That does not mean that you like
Have
hold
the
a
same
temple
values or
recommend.
anything.
Yeah. Um yeah, there's a I learned that really quick. But when I first met my husband, I was really attracted to him. He was super fun, but I feel like I was like trying to self-sabotage something because I was like, he's cute, he's fit, like he's probably really into himself. And I don't want to do that. Like I have a second chance. So we actually met up in Utah. We we had matched because like I had like a certain radius on like my dating matches or whatever, but I was in Utah at the time when we did match. And he was in Utah because he had a house there, so he was like um, doing something with his rental there. And so we ended up talking. I didn't know he lived in Arizona at the time, but we ended up meeting up for a date and I had a great time. Like I remember calling my best friend after and I was like, I had so much fun. Like we didn't do anything crazy, like but we just laughed. Like we had so much fun together. She was like, "Well, are you going to go out again?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like it almost is like it feels too good to be true. And I also like I don't know if it was just like I didn't feel like I deserved that or that that was like something that was really possible out there. Um so honestly, thankfully like my friends are the ones that pushed me cuz like just give them a chance. Like you don't
Mhm.
know like until but I was like I was almost scared to like allow that wall to come down and then get hurt. Cause I really did. Like I was like, gosh, this is the first guy that I've like gone on a date and I've felt the way that I did with him. So we ended up meeting up for Thanksgiving. We actually went with my brother and my sister-in-law. I'm really close with my sister-in-law's family. So, but we met up with them and it was so fun. Like we had the best time. We spent 3 days together. It was like speed dating. But we were there with like all of her family. And after that, I was like, okay,
You were
I like
hooked on
you.
him.
I was hooked. And he ended up like, he took down his dating app and then we talked after and he was like, I really like you. Like, I just want to date you. And I was like, same. And I had found out, obviously, at that point that he lived in Arizona. So we started like flying back and forth, dating. And it was really good. And then we got married, gosh, was it like 8 or 9 months after we met? And I moved to Arizona, and the first year was really hard. It was really good, but it was really hard.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
Man,
So many
like
different things that you're having to adjust to.
serious. And it just brought the crazy out in both of us. Trying to like we blended 7 kids. We had decided like, hey, when we get married, we probably should do marriage counseling. It would be smart, which I'm so grateful that that's something that he values too, because
Hmm.
you don't realize like once you're with your person, it's crazy the things that trigger you. Even though like it's not because of them, it's from your past, but it gets put on that person because you're like, whoa, you
Yeah,
just did
my
this, so does that mean you're gonna do this?
yeah.
That's something that's hard is I feel like it's viewed as if you go to counseling, it's like, oh, so what's wrong with you?
Hmm.
And something that I love is there's a book that Oprah, I think, wrote, but it's like, what happened to you? And I like that because it's like we respond in a certain way based on what happened to us.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe it's a little crazy, but you can't help it because something happened and just
Yeah.
makes you respond that way. So thankfully, we were in counseling. There were a couple times that I didn't think we were going to make it, but we did. It was like going through that hard and hitting rock bottom together and then still choosing each other in the end, even though like I am an anxious attachment and he's an avoider. And so we've had to learn how to come together with that. And but I'm grateful that we both are like striving to show up for each other, even though that like how he has to show up for me and how I have to show up for him, it's hard. Like
Hmm.
it's definitely something that like we both had to work on. But it's also been really, really good. So
Let's see. Did you hit your year? Was it in May?
in June
June? Okay.
1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been yeah, it's crazy just to think how far we've come. And it's also hard, like, I've had a lot of feelings like open up from my past. And I thought in the moment that, like, it was because I'm like, gosh, is this just not right? Like, did I rush into something? But I thought it was cool. I found out that it's because it usually will open up when you get to a place where you start to feel safe. And so
That's a good
that's like,
sign.
yeah, that's made
Hmm.
me like really appreciate my husband because I am not one to like yell and I it stems from because like I don't like that. Whenever things would happen at home and my dad was yelling, you always knew it was going to end in something super scary.
Hmm.
And I remember the first time I lost my crap here and it felt so good. But we had gone back from a trip and we had to take 2 separate cars because we have like
A billion
a
kids.
thousand kids and all the kids were tired.
Have they gone
We
along well, by the way, the kids?
Yes, they have. Like the blending of the kids really went. I couldn't have asked for a better situation. They fight like brothers and sisters and they love each other like brothers and sisters.
Oh,
Like
good.
it really has been so good. But
Anyway, so you're driving 2 cars.
oh my gosh. So it had been like 10 hours in the cart. We get home and the kids are fighting and um sorry, my husband was trying to help his 2 younger kids and there's just stuff everywhere. I trip over one of the dogs and I drop like a bottle of shampoo on my foot and it just hurt. But I was holding a beach bag and I just chucked the beach bag across the room. I was like, ah! And I was like, done cleaning up by myself. And I stomped into my room and I slammed the door. And my husband, he told me after, he was like, everybody just froze. Like they were
Like,
like,
what is happening?
and he came in and I remember his voice was really shaking. He's like, hey, sweetie, are you okay? And I was like, I'm not okay. And anyways, we talked about it later, but in marriage counseling, and my counselor was like, that's good. It's good for you to feel that way. Like, you have to release. Like, if you're feeling frustrated about something, you got to speak up. Like, if you want help, you got to say, hey, come and help me. People will come help you. Like, it's okay to ask for things. That doesn't mean that you're needy. That doesn't mean that you're going to use up, like, your whatever it's called, like, how many times you can ask somebody. My mom always called it attaboys. And so, like, I've just learned you just do it by yourself. If somebody doesn't just come help, you don't ask 'cause that's rude. And I'm like, actually, no, that's wrong. You should ask.
That seems
Anyways,
so much harder though.
I
Well, and
know.
also like going along with like your past relationship, I feel like where you felt like he didn't love you or like unloved, and so like those are the types of things that I would do of being like, I won't ask for help because then I'm annoying. Like I
Yes.
feel like I would instill that in my mind that I can't do that because it's protecting the relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not putting more on them. No, the things we have to like unlearn.
I know. It's so true. Well,
It's
actually,
hard.
something that I'll never forget that our counselor told us, um, which it's funny because when she asked this, like, I was like, okay, like, she is setting up, like, and she's like, is it ever hard for you? Like, you are like, gosh, they should know. Like, they should know that I am not happy and that I need them to bring me home ice cream. Or, like, they should know that I'm stressed. Come help me with the dishes. And I was like, yes.
I know.
She's like, well, that's a form of manipulation because you're expecting them to know what you're thinking. And we don't know how to mind read. And men are probably the worst at that. And they just want you to ask. And I was like, well, golly gee, this took a turn. And so now I've just had to be really direct, and it feels really weird sometimes.
Hmm.
But like, my husband will tell me, he'll be like, thank you for asking. Like, I, when I'm sitting on the couch watching football and you're up there cleaning, like, I'm only thinking about football. But if you tell me, like, hey, I need help, I'll come help you.
That's the moments I'm
Me
like, can you
too.
not see how much laundry needs folded? How
I
many dishes are
know.
in the sink? And like, we're stepping on things as we walk everywhere we go.
And you're telling me you can go to bed resting easy with this?
Meanwhile, my
I'm
mind
like,
is like, all the things
that's
that, yeah.
that is me too. Like it's always, and it, I just get
Yeah.
like so angry. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
I
But
know.
then I'm like, why don't you communicate it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I,
hard.
it is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard. So, no, but it's been really good. There's a lot of things that I've had to relearn. There's a lot of things he's had to relearn. He really had a hard time with like me and my ex's relationship just because we're friends and there's nothing there.
Are your kids, like, do you have your off weeks at the same time? So, like, your house is
Yeah.
empty. Okay.
Yeah. That's what the kids wanted, actually. We told them that we could like try and do it where like a couple days like they were just alone with us and they're like, no, we want to be together. So we're like,
Oh, I like that.
I know, I do too.
And then you just get like alone time with him too.
Yeah.
Like,
Which has
yeah.
been so good for us. Like
Hmm.
we needed that because it is so hard like starting a life with somebody that you dated long distance from the beginning and then you just haven't had time to like date each other. So
Hmm.
it's been really good for us to have that time.
Well, thank you for sharing this with me. I bet.
I feel like I'm like a squirrel that's like ding, 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 you
No,
know?
I think that
So
it works well for me because I'm also that way. And if there's ever a tangent, my brain follows the tangent and as if it was like just part of the story. I'm like
like
it's
yeah.
so easy for me to just like jump along. I'm like, no, it like all it didn't feel tangenty at all. So if it was, I didn't feel it. So
Well, that's good because that's how my brain works too.
yeah. Oh,
So
and it's so good to talk to you. Like even
yeah,
after talking
same.
to you on the phone last night, I'm like, gosh, I just love you. You're just so fun to
Oh,
talk
I do
to.
too. I miss you.
This was fun.
No, same, same.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye. I got a message when I posted this was going to be my guest on the podcast today. I got a message from somebody saying that she is one of the funniest, most entertaining girls that they know. And I was just like, yes, she truly is. But like talking with her about this experience, I'm like, there's so much more than just like, you know, a girl that is super funny and entertaining. And growing up back in high school, like I saw the funny, entertaining girl. Like it was so fun to be around her and hang out with her. And we just did weird things sometimes. Like some of the funnest times were with her. But, you know, I didn't know one, the struggles that she was having at home, that she was having to like hide from other people. And still now, like I didn't know that she was going through this in her marriage. And again, repeating myself yet again, you just never know what people are going through. And I really just appreciated having, you know, this conversation. I had already kind of talked to her a little bit about it before when I had seen her back when she was dating at the time. I don't think she had met her now husband yet, but anyway, and you know, it's just, you just love her so much more because you're like, you have these really hard things that you're going through. Like, how are you still standing? You know, type of a thing. But I'm glad that she is. I was grateful that I was able to go to her wedding. I missed the actual wedding part. I wasn't able to be there for that, but I made it right after, and she was so beautiful and looked so happy. And I'm just so happy for her that she has found her person, and wish them all the best. I really can't imagine the things that she had to experience and just like keep to herself throughout her entire marriage to her ex. And, you know I've been married for 15 years at this point, and no marriage is perfect. And they all have their struggles and hard things, but that would be really, really difficult. So if you are listening and you yourself are going through a really challenging time in, you know, just any relationship that you're having, you're not alone, as we can see here with this conversation. So again, I'm just really grateful that she came on. I told her that we can have her on again because, like I said, she has had quite a few experiences in her life that she could talk about and share with us all. So, all right. I said I was going to keep the talking to a minimum. I'm in a chatty mood, which is unfortunate because I just want to talk, but my voice is annoying me. So I'm going to get off. If you yourself have a story, please, please, please reach out to me. It makes my day anytime I get a message that someone says, hey, I've got a story for you. I love it. So please reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Sippin' on Stories Podcast. You can email me at sippinonstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Or if you know me personally, just send me a good old text message or call me. That feels weird to say because who calls nowadays? But any of those options work for me, and I would love to talk to you. So until next week, when I will be back here for another episode of the Sippin' on Stories podcast. Bye, Sipsters.